Well, good morning everyone and welcome to Karting Genk. We're here in the Limburg region of Belgium. It's the opening round of the CIK FIA European Championship for the KZ class, the KZ2 class and the Academy Trophy. It's round 3 of the 4 rounds of the KF class. And just coming up now, you've joined us just in time for the start of the first of our pre-finals. This is pre-final 1 for the KZ2 class, the gearbox class for KZ2 drivers. Dalay of Italy on pole position, unbeaten throughout the event so far in qualifying practice and in all of the races. He starts on pole position alongside Douglas Lundberg of Sweden. Seamus Judovicius and Matteo Zanchi are row 2, as you see on our caption. Simone Brenner and Christian Abolin, row 3. Menno Power, Marion Kramer's row 4, Joel Johansson and Kenny Charles of Belgium completing the top 10 on row 5. This will be a 15-lap race, and you see on our grid captions there, right back to Sean Slavin of Scotland and De Silvestri of Italy completing the grid. Well, it's a standing start for the KZ2 class for both of the gearbox classes. Very, very good racing conditions here at Genk. A little bit cloudy this morning. The ambient temperature, the air temperature 16 degrees Celsius. We've had our morning warm-up and everything has gone according to plan. So, as you see, the karts move onto the home straight. On the left-hand side of your screen is Dalay of Italy driving the CRG Maxter. On the front row at the right of your screen, Douglas Lundberg driving the Alfa Parilla. Just behind Dalay is Seamus Judovicius. You don't see him, he's blocked a little bit, and it's Matteo Zanchi on row 2 behind Douglas Lundberg. Well, as soon as the green flag is shown at the back of the grid, when the last of the drivers is on their formation, then the flag marshal will move to the right and the lights will come up, and when we have the lights in full configuration, we shall be going. 15-lap race. Nice shot there of the green flag coming in, and a driver at the back, I think, making a few gestures. That looks as if that might be Sean Slavin not starting, but we do get a good start from the outside of the front row of the grid. That's Douglas Lundberg getting an early good start, and Seamus Judovicius jumping into second place, although immediately Dalay eases past Seamus. No, he doesn't. Seamus Judovicius, as you can see, still there in second place, and poleman Dalay in third place. Now, Dalay was unbeaten throughout yesterday's racing. And there is the kart that we see that hasn't started, kart 3, or maybe it wasn't Sean Slavin. Maybe that was perhaps an inaccurate call. However, at the front, we do know it's Douglas Lundberg. We do know Seamus Judovicius is running in second place and Dalay in third place. The pre-finals are run over a 15-lap race distance, 15 laps equating to 30 kilometres, so a decent length of race. And Douglas Lundberg on that Alfa Parilla, looking as if he's got, a dozen kart lengths lead as I glance over my shoulder, maybe even a shade more than that on the opening lap. It's Matteo Zanchi in fourth place to the right of your screen in that green livery, and just behind him another Italian, Simone Brenner. So 3 Italians in third, fourth and fifth place. In front of them a Lithuanian, Seamus Judovicius, and out in front Douglas Lundberg, Swedish driver. Seamus Judovicius in second place, driving an Energy Maxter kart. Lovely shot there of kart 304, Douglas Lundberg. Nice driving style as well, look, very compact, no snatching, everything nice and smooth. Dalay, I did mention moments ago, unbeaten throughout the event, but looking as if he was vulnerable to an attack there from Matteo Zanchi. But Dalay has not led every race. He has had to work from the back in some of the heats. And there goes the move by Dalay into second place. Dalay of Italy takes second place as we start lap 3. So, Douglas Lundberg, yes, let's have a peep at that again. Nice move on the inside. Seamus Judovicius, who can be a very hard man to pass, and he can also be a hard man to stop passing you. But on that occasion, the tall Lithuanian found, look at the extreme body lean, the body inclination of Dalay in second place. When there again you see that inclination to the left. And Douglas Lundberg will feel a sense of deja vu because he's been here before. Why do I say that? Because he's led a race in front of Andrea Dalay, established a good lead at the front, only to find Andrea Dalay hunting him down, and that's what's happening now. Fastest lap at the moment, 55.0 by Douglas Lundberg, but 54.5 for Andrea Dalay. He's half a second quicker. This is turn 1 on lap 3. And again, you see that inclination to the right on this occasion. It's just the same to the left. A lot of drivers do not sit totally upright. A lot of drivers move their body about in the karts, but Andrea Dalay in second place, one of the most exaggerated movements. See him just sawing a little bit at the wheel there, and Douglas Lundberg doing all that he can to try to keep the door closed on Andrea Dalay. Lap 3 of a 15-lap race, so plenty of time. No reason for Dalay to be doing anything over dramatic at this stage. You wonder what the mindset is of Douglas Lundberg. Oh, and a little bit of contact there. Now that was Zanke and Abolin, I think. Simone Brenner had gone up to 4th place previously. Matteo Zanke and Christian Abolin, I think, were the guys that we saw there. Douglas Lundberg just reaching down with his left hand. In very close order is Andrea Dalay, and there's his bid for the lead, and the lead is taken. And also Seamus Udovicius saying, well, if there's a little gap there, I'll try and go through it. But wow, really being defended hard by Douglas Lundberg. And have 2 and 3 gone off the circuit? Well, there is kart 323, Seamus Udovicius, in a very out of shape situation. And they were very, very close to each other, Seamus Udovicius and Douglas Lundberg. Let's see if we can see again. There's Dalay taking the lead. Seamus Udovicius going through the gap that's created. Well, we cut away a little bit early, so it's hard to see the end result of that. Certainly Matteo Zanke had a good bonus out of that. He's in kart number 338. Well, lap 4 of 15. 369, dipping his head, is Andrea Dalay in this very comfortable lead. Matt Zanke second, Christian Abolin third. It's Menno Power in shot just momentarily there in 4th place. Simone Brenner in 5th place. Now let's have a look where the other guys fell to. Douglas Lundberg dropped down to 6th place as a result of that manoeuvre. Seamus Udovicius dropped down into 9th place. So it's not been a disaster, but it wasn't a terribly good moment for either of them. Remains also to be seen if either or both have attracted the attention of the officials and could potentially pick up a further penalty. I'm not suggesting that will be the case. I'm not suggesting that should be the case, but those sort of incidents are often looked at. In shot now is Matt Zanke, kart number 338. Matteo Zanke drives GP Racing for GPTM for GP Racing, comfortably in that 2nd place at the moment. Christian Abolin of Croatia, he's in kart 307 in 3rd place. He went well in the heats, Christian Abolin, but he did have a little bit of a vulnerability to dropping a bit further down the order in the later stages. 307 you saw in shot there was Christian Abolin, and at the moment all going relatively well for the Croatian. Lap 6 of 15, so we're not yet at the half race distance, but Andrea Dalay's lead is 2.2 seconds at this stage. I have to say, there's an air of inevitability when I do my commentaries. There is Andrea Dalay. Well, now he's being followed by Matt Zanke. When I do my commentaries, I love to see close racing, but Andrea Dalay, he's been half a second, he's in shot now, half a second quicker each lap than everybody in the racing yesterday. In Friday's qualifying practice, he blew everyone away. There was really only one other driver to get within 1.5 seconds of him. So certainly Andrea Dalay driving the CRG Maxter, his team have found something very powerful. Nice shot of him there at the bottom of your screen. This is Matteo Zanke there in 3rd place, 307, Christian Abolin. Menno Power still running in 4th place, you just caught a brief shot of. Simone Brenner making it 3 Italians in the top 5, he's 5th. Marien Kramers of Netherlands is 6th, then the 2 Swedish drivers, Joel Johansson 7th, Douglas Lundberg in 8th place, Seamus Udovicius 9th, and yet another Italian, Luca Caberi, making up the top 10 in 10th place. So, as we head to the half race distance, Andrea Dalay's lead is increased to 2.5 seconds, 2.5 seconds to the good. And Matteo Zanchi has got 0.6 of a second on Christian Abolin in third place. So it's not too competitive in the first two. But then, C-Kart 307 there, Christian Abolin, the drivers behind, that's Menno Power, you see, putting some pressure on Kart 310. Menno Power driving the Birel TM for Birel Motorsport. Simone Brenner in Kart 309 driving the TB kart with the Modena engine. And as I just look away from the screen and out on the circuit, I see a severely waved yellow flag suggesting we've had an incident downfield, but I'm sure it didn't affect any of the front runners. And that flag's still being quite vigorously waved. Well, nice little piece of passing there, Kart 310. 310 was Menno Power, and he's getting the better of 307 Christian Abolin. And Menno Power has been making a steady, quiet progress through this event. Has a sister, Vera, who raced up to a few years ago in international racing. And I do recall her having raced in other competitions when I've been a race commentator, and recognising what a good motor racing family they are. Menno Power really having the best race that I've seen, or best event that I've seen. Nice move there by Kart 309 you saw was Simone Brenner. Simone Brenner in Kart 309. So our race leaders coming by now. Do I see a black flag being offered? Kart 316 is a number I'm reading, which is Kenny Charles. Kenny Charles, let me try and have a look on the screen, he's not in the top runners. Kenny Charles is way down the order, but there's something I'm seeing. I even wonder if it's a black flag, but have a look and see. He's under investigation, I think, Kart 372. That's a different situation. 372 was Matteo Vigano. But whatever, those flag situations not affecting the front runners, not affecting those that you're seeing on screen now. Hope you're enjoying our pictures on CIK TV, powered by WSK Promotions. We're 2/3 of the way through this race. Andrea Dalay's lead now is very nearly 3 seconds, 2.98, and another nice piece of passing. That was kart number 314, Marion Kramers, going up from 5th place into 4th place at the expense of Christian Abolin. Nice piece of passing there. Well, I certainly hope I haven't put the commentator's curse on Christian Abolin. I'm just stating the facts, but he's a very, very good driver, is Christian Abolin, but he does tend to get caught and lose places late on. A new fastest lap you saw there for Andrea Dalay, 53.48, and the next quickest is Marion Kramers, who you just saw, 53.50. So Marion Kramers, who's gained a place into 4th, also going pretty quickly, but not as quick as Andrea Dalay. That is Matteo Zanchi you're seeing there in screen. This is now Andrea Dalay, driving of course for CRG Maxter. Everybody in KZ2 on Bridgestone tyres, by the way, but a multiplicity of chassis, multiplicity of engine power. 369, and again that body inclination, look, there it is. Andrea Dalay is not in serious, severe racing conditions. There's nobody within 3 seconds of him, and yet that body inclination, very apparent all the time, isn't it? Down the straights here at the Genk circuit, remains upright. His lead is 3.5 seconds actually. Now 310, Menno Power is under really serious pressure from Marion Kramers. This is the battle for 3rd and 4th. Menno Power in 3rd place, 4th place Marion Kramers, and Kramers looking as if he's served notice on his fellow Dutchman that he would be very interested in taking 3rd place away from Menno Power. A multiplicity of Dutchmen here. It does, and there is the move that we half predicted, and I have to say that was not entirely unexpected as we come round to complete lap 12. Let's have another peep at that. Nice and clean, wasn't it? And a word of congratulations there to Menno Power. Didn't do anything silly, didn't try to chop across his fellow Dutchman, recognised the situation and conceded that place. And actually look at Menno Power now, really chasing hard down on Matt Zanchi. Matteo Zanchi in 338 is at the top of your screen. This is the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and Marion Kramers. Oh, and you saw that Matteo Zanchi was not happy about that. Well, That may have been that he was not happy about a mechanical... Yeah, I think it's a mechanical thing. I don't think he's been clattered out. I do believe he lost power, and that's what's made him so angry. Late in the race, well, you have to really feel sorry for Matteo Zanchi. Looked as if he was in for certainly a top 5 finish, whatever happened. 3-1-4 just tapping his helmet. There is Marion Kramers. Late in this race. Last lap, in fact. We're on lap 14. And Andrea Dalay is 4.4 seconds to the good. There is Marion Kramers in second place. Menno Power in third place. And a move potentially that, well, let's not call it a potential move. Let's wait until very little room. Sweeping round from the final home straight, there is the checkered flag, and our race winner is Andrea Dalay. Andrea Dalay wins it. In second place, Marion Kramers. Third is the front row starter Douglas Lundberg. Fourth is Menno Power. Fifth is Christian Aberline. Sixth is Simone Brenner. Seventh is Joel Johansson. Eighth is Marco Zanchetti. Ninth, the driver from Austria, kart 362, is Marcel Muller. And completing the top 10 from Poland is Paweł Mijkia. Well, commiserations there to Matt Zanchi, who with 2 laps remaining, when he was in second place, suddenly found he'd got a problem. May have been legitimately passed by Kramers and Power, but certainly he was angry, and I think it was a mechanical problem. But whatever, he's a non-finisher, having been ever so well placed to get a good position to start in the final of this one. It's not going to happen, and Matteo Zanchi really having his event of the weekend end in tears. And this is the highlights package that you see as kart 304 Douglas Lundberg jumped out from pole position to take that early lead, but quickly tracked by Andrea Dalay. And Dalay taking a little bit of time to get through. There is the move that gave him the lead. Seamus Udovicius went through with him. Now, Seamus Udovicius and Douglas Lundberg had a little bit of a coming together, neither of them going out, but both of them significantly losing places. 3-1-4 you see on circuit there, on screen there is Marion Kramers making a nice passing move, but here is Andrea Dalay well clear at this stage in their highlights package. 338 is Matteo Zanchi. He's pursued by 310 Menno Power. Now there's Menno Power and Marion Kramers, and there's the moment of utter frustration for Matteo Zanchi. All going wrong with just a couple of laps remaining. Feel very disappointed for the Italian, but hey, these things happen. And Andrea Dalay knows nothing about it. It all happened far behind him, and coming home in second place there in kart number 314, Marion Kramers. Fourth, Douglas Lundberg. Well, you can see that nice shot of karting Genk. There is our result. Andrea Dalay winning it by a margin of 4.27 seconds. Big margin. 2 Dutchmen, Marion Kramers and Menno Power, split by the Swedish driver Douglas Lundberg. Seamus Udovicius, who making that move for second place, eventually finished 15th. Well, there is Matt Zanchi's caption at the bottom of our screen, 2 laps down, a non-finisher. And I'm afraid none of those drivers you see on screen, including Belgium's Kenny Charles, will be making any further appearance. Kenny excluded from the race. That was the black flag that we obviously saw at the middle of the race. Well, I hope you enjoyed our coverage on CIK TV. We take a little pause, but we're racing again very, very shortly, because pre-final 2 for the KZ2 class coming up next at 10:05. Jan Madara starting this one on pole position, with Andreas Hansen joining him on the front row. Well, to those of you here at Karting Genk, hope you're enjoying the racing this morning. And of course, you've also now got the benefit of our big screen on CIK TV. Just after the start-finish line, you see the big screen. And there is the graphic showing the 3 sectors of Karting Genk, this 360-metre track. I think it says 1,350. Did I say 360? 1,350 metres. And once again, that air temperature shown as 16 degrees. Well, Jan Madara was only beaten in the heats yesterday by Dalay. He will start pre-final 2 on pole position alongside Andreas Hansen, the Czech Republic man alongside the Dane. Ricardo Romkemer of Netherlands and his fellow Dutchman Guus Becken are row 2. Yet another pair of Dutchmen, Finn Koyman and Ryan van der Berg, are row 3. Alessio Piccini of Italy shares row 4 with fellow Italian Fabian Federer, and row 5 sees Mike Siebeck of Germany alongside Michele Di Martino of Germany. So it's an all-German row 5, an all-Italian row 4, an all-Dutch row 3, an all-Dutch row 2, and a Czech and a Dane on the front row. Daniel Bray, the furthest travelled driver from New Zealand, is on row 6 alongside Dutchman Dylan Davis. Jorge Carlos Pescador of Spain and Dominic Schmidt of Germany are row 7. Gary Carlton from the United States of America and Stan Pex from the Netherlands are row 8. Another Dutchman, Jordi van Moorsel, is on row 9 with Frenchman Charlie Bizalian, and the top 20 are completed on row 10 by Tony Wolff of Germany and Johan Crisson of France. Jan Madara is on pole position, joined on the front row by Andreas Hansen. Ricardo Romker and Guus Becken, row 2. Finn Koyman and Ryan van der Berg, the Dutch, row 3. Alessio Piccini and Fabian Federer, the Italian, row 4. Mike Siebeck and Michele Di Martino, row 5. On screen now, bottom right of your screen, Daniel Formal. He's from Costa Rica. We don't get many drivers from Costa Rica racing at Karting Genk. Top left of your screen is Jan Madara. He will start on pole position. He's from the Czech Republic, driving a Birel TM. To the right of your screen, kart 350, is Andreas Hansen. He's on a Tony Kart Vortex. Koos Spekken just behind Andreas Hansen, been telling me he wants to be a kart commentator, a kart speaker when I finish, so fair enough. They do a lot better job than me, and I couldn't drive a kart as quick as he could. 15 laps, standing start. And a quicker start this time by Andreas Hansen, and Jan Madara trying to dive on the inside at the early stage and leaves a little bit of a gap, and I think he's going to retain second place. Yes, he does. Well, momentarily perhaps that was usurped by Koos Spekken, who I mentioned, but it's a good start by Andreas Hansen, the predominantly yellow helmet, getting himself into this early lead as we go down the freeway straight. This is the long straight parallel with the main road as we come out of Genk towards the Dutch border, and you can see already on our screen, although the television pictures do foreshorten the distance, that's a big lead in the early stages. We've only just gone half a lap, and that lead is about 12-15 kart lengths already in favour of Andreas Hansen, starting on the outside of the front row. Second place driver going through 3:05, Jan Madara. Oh, and 4:05, looking very, very unhealthy, is James Glenister from Great Britain. I looked away from the screen at the time that we saw that crash, if it was shown on screen. James Glenister from the United Kingdom definitely going out, because that kart is undrivable now. Andreas Hansen and Jan Madara the 1 and 2. Ricardo Romkema now putting pressure in third place on Jan Madara, and Ryan van der Bergt also going well. A few glances over the right shoulder, and there is kart 322 trying to make a move. Ryan van der Bergt, who we called in commentary, and he's made that move stick. Good effort, going up to third from fifth. So Ryan van der Bergt now, pressure on Jan Madara. Ryan van der Bergt, one of many, many really top Dutchmen that we see. You just see there that he's on screen shown in fifth place and quickly getting himself a couple of steps further. Daniel Bray from New Zealand completing the top 10. See that at the bottom right of your caption. A 32.5-hour journey by plane from New Zealand. 3:25 gaining a place is Ricardo Romkema. So Ricardo Romkema going one up. I think I saw that Stan Pex was only just on the bottom edge of the top 20 there. Felix Dieseling 29th place. Aline Shehan, you saw her name, the lady from Holland, and it was Hartmann of Germany, I think, who had the collision with James Glenister. I didn't see the collision, not that I would have apportioned any blame either way if I thought I had seen it and thought I could apportion blame. I can tell you that I can apportion praise, because Andreas Hansen deserves plenty of praise for being in this comfortable lead. Hotly chased now by kart 3:05, Jan Madara, and still close attention of Ryan van der Bergt in third place. These are the three coming down towards us on screen. Andreas Hansen, Jan Madara, Ryan van der Bergt. Denmark, Czech Republic, Netherlands. The fourth place driver is another Dutchman, Ricardo Romkema. Ricardo Romkema getting himself in a position where he might be able to make a challenge. Jan Madara looking for a route through. Not able to find one there. Our screen showing you really good quality pictures of this dice, because it's a three-way dice for real. Because and Mike Seebeck setting a fastest lap that you see there, and yet Mike Seebeck is way down the field in 13th place. Now Andreas Hansen at the pit turn, coming up to start the next lap, getting himself just about half a kart lengths clear of Madara. Was Madara winding up for a passing move? Ryan van der Bergt there. 3:12 moving out for a potential move was Finn Koyman in fifth place, looking to try to get past Ricardo Romkema, but I don't think that move was ever on. But let's stay with this really good battle at the front. Andreas Hansen started from the outside of the front row. Jan Madara was on the inside of the front row, but on a standing start, not quite so quickly away. Ryan van der Bergt in third place, getting himself well clear of the fourth place driver, those chasing Dutchmen. He's a Dutchman himself, but Ricardo Romkema and Finn Koyman having their little battle. Fabian Federer of Italy behind those. Andreas Hansen, you saw the gear change there, you saw the movement, the hand movement. But Jan Madara Just waiting for a mistake. Well, I'm not sure if that was a mistake, because I wonder if Andreas Hansen sold him a dummy there a little bit. Left a gap as big as a barn door. But of course, when Jan Madara dived through on the inside, he then had to make the turn. Andreas Hansen says, no, you'll be too far wide out. I'll retake the lead. And he duly did. It's lap 5 of 15. Andreas Hansen then giving Jan Madara a little bit more work to do. The good fortune there for Jan Madara is that Ryan van der Burgt wasn't in a position to take advantage, although he looks very close still, doesn't he? Ryan van der Burgt in kart 322. He's driving a DRTM for Danilo Rossi, the 5-times world champion, is here. And there goes a nice move by the, shall we say, heir apparent to the lead, Jan Madara. And on that occasion, it was so beautifully executed, there couldn't have been an immediate return by Andreas Hansen. And Andreas Hansen now having to also divide his attentions between the guys behind him. And a little bit of contact there, I think I saw. There's Ryan van der Burgt in 3rd place, Finn Koyman in 4th place. Finn Koyman is kart number 312, driving the CRG for CRG Holland. And wow, Finn Koyman sets the fastest lap at 53.537. 305, Jan Madara mounted on that Birel chassis powered by the TM motor. As we head towards the half race distance, we're certainly not there yet, but that 3-way battle at the front is a 4-way battle, and it's Finn Koyman in 4th place who'd like to be Finn Koyman in 3rd place. Well, Ryan van der Burgt has spent most of this race on the tail of the driver in front. First it was first it was Jan Madara, now it's Andreas Hansen. But immediately there's any change at the front, he has to recognise that there's a battle behind, and that's Finn Koyman putting on the pressure. Finn Koyman ever so slightly there, well, not a misjudgment, far from it, just a little bit out of shape, and as a result he's got to work a little bit more now to catch up to the fellow Dutchman in front, Ryan van der Burgt, but I've no doubt that Finn Koyman will be quickly doing so. Stan Peck, yet another Dutchman, the younger brother of Jorrit Peck, sets the fastest lap, 53.47, as we are at the half race distance now. These 15-lap pre-finals for KZ2, or KZ2 if you wish, however you want to pronounce it, depends where you learnt your English, whether it's in England or America, I guess. Well, Jan Madara got a half a second now on the chasing pack, led by Andreas Hansen. Andreas Hansen driving for the official Tony Kart Racing team, as our caption shows. Under pressure from Ryan van der Burgt, but not under what might be termed an immediate threat. And Ryan van der Burgt under a little bit more of a threat to lose 3rd place to Finn Koyman 4th. 331 at the top of your screen there is Fabian Federer of Italy 5th. Alessio Piccini of Italy is 6th. Michele Di Martino, he's got an Italian name, but he's from Germany, is 7th. Daniel Bray of New Zealand 8th. Ricardo Romkemer, who was a front runner early on, has dropped to 9th. And Mike Siebeck of Germany completes the top 10. So heading round now towards the start of lap 9. Part 305 is Jan Madara, and his advantage is 0.44 of a second, so it was 0.5, and the message therefore from the timing screen is that a little bit closer for the drivers chasing him, led by Andreas Hansen. No change of position in the top 7 drivers on that lap, but Ricardo Romkemer, who was in a little bit of a free fall, has free fallen out of the top 10. Mike Siebeck is now 8th, Dylan Davis 9th, Dominic Schmidt 10th, and Ricardo Romkemer running 11th at the completion of the previous lap. Well, Jan Madara in the Birel TM, 0.44 of a second, a good nice shot there of 312, Finn Koyman on that CRG, driving for CRG Holland, and this battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th is pretty much the best battle, certainly the best battle in the front-running dozens or so drivers. There are some midfield dices that are looking quite close, but we can't really stay with them. It's battles for 18th, 19th, 20th, that sort of position. A lot more significant is Andreas Hansen holding off Van der Burgt 3rd, Finn Koyman 4th, Fabian Federer 5th, and Alessio Piccini in 6th place. Alessio Piccini brought out of a heat yesterday on a black flag and then reinstated, so get your head around that if you can. Alessio Piccini was not best pleased when he first learned about the situation, but hey, these things can often be sorted. Daniel Bray, who was in the top 10 in 8th place, drops to 17th as our screen shows you there. Eline Shehan, 25th, bottom right of your screen, the lady from Holland, the only Dutch lady amongst these many Dutch lads. And there is another nice piece of passing, 3-2-2, Ryan van der Berg getting past Andreas Hansen, and Andreas Hansen having to, well, fight a little bit of catch-up now. So, Jan Madara 1, Ryan van der Berg 2. And in fact, there is Andreas Hansen, who's gone back into 2nd place at the expense of Ryan van der Berg. So, whilst I try to look at the action out at the tarmac, out of my window, really should stay with these fabulous pictures on CIK TV, powered by WSK Promotion, showing us all the action that we need to see. Madara out of shot, Hansen in 2nd place to your right, Van der Berg 3rd, Finn Koyman 4th, Fabian Federer 5th, and behind Fabian Federer, Alessio Piccini. These are the guys in shot in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th place. There is Andreas Hansen to the right of your screen in 2nd place. To the top left of your screen, just disappearing, Jan Madara's lead is over a full second now. As we're deep into this 15-lap race, the caption at the top of the screen showing you lap 12. Stampek sets another fastest lap, but he's only in 12th place. Well, little Stampeks from this racing family of 3 racing brothers, Jard, who's not here, Jorrit, who is here, and Stan himself, 2 fastest laps, but can't drive into the top 10 at the moment. He's running 12th. Andreas Hansen to the right of your screen, still 2nd. Ryan van der Berg still 3rd, but Jan Madara is the driver in shot, coming down towards us now. So 13 of 15 laps. The tribune you saw there was not so much the main tribune as a, what shall we say, an adjunct to the a la carte brasserie and restaurant here at Karting Genk. So you see 9/10 of a second in favour of Jan Madara over Andreas Hansen, but it has been bigger than that at one stage. Stampeks there in 12th place, having set that fastest lap. Jordi van Moorsel going to be disappointed, down in 19th. Daniel Bray stopped the free fall no further down than 17th. And the lady from Netherlands, Eline Shehan, can't get any higher than 25th at the moment. Koos Bekken in 27th place, going to be very disappointed, having started in 4th place and having been a good front runner early on, but I think he got caught in some of the mayhem at an early stage. Well, let's give credit to the driver who's leading this race. Only been beaten yesterday once by Andrea Dalay. He led him for some time, but Dalay did go past. Looks over his right shoulder, does Jan Madara, driving the Birel TM. He drives for Birel Motorsport, and he's got himself 3/4 of a second advantage on the field. Glancing out of my window, coming down now the short chute towards that a la carte tribune. Our CIK TV pictures, powered by WSK Promotions, showing you a really nice shot of our, I don't want to say race winner just in case anything goes wrong, but he's the race winner now because he's on the home straight. There's the checkered flag to the right of your screen, and Jan Madara wins it. Jan Madara wins. Andreas Hansen in 2nd place, Ryan van der Berg 3rd, Finn Koyman 4th, Fabian Federer 5th, Alessio Piccini 6th, Michele Di Martino 7th, Mike Seebeck 8th, Dylan Davis 9th, and it was Dominic Schmidt of Germany who completed the top 10. Well, hope you enjoyed that race. White flag just being shown there. Let's have a look at some of the highlights. This is the start, and Andreas Hansen to the right of your screen, getting a good start against Jan Madara. Jan Madara trying to fight back at an early stage, but having to battle hard. And it was the Dutchman coming through, Ryan van der Berg, Finn Koyman, and in the early stages, Ricardo Romkemer. There you saw 325, Ricardo Romkemer actually losing a place, no, retaining his place there. He's in 4th place at the moment, Romkema, but fell away to 11th. Now, there's the move that I was saying, the cross move with Andreas Hansen and Jan Madara just trading places and retrading them back. But Jan Madara, when he got in front for the second time, stayed there. The 2 Dutchmen behind Andreas Hansen are Ryan van der Bert and Finn Koyman. And they pretty much stayed there too, but got in closer order. 3:05 in screen and Madara. Didn't have anything of a crashing moment, did we? 3:22 gaining a place there was Ryan van der Bert, getting himself into 2nd place briefly before Andreas Hansen went back. Just went back to 2nd place, not went back down the field. There's the checkered flag. Jan Madara 1, Andreas Hansen 2, Ryan van der Berg 3. Well, ladies and gentlemen, they were our 2 pre-finals for the KZ2 class. The KZ2s now leave centre stage. They will be back this afternoon at 13:40. They'll come to the grid. They'll depart at 13:50 for the final. Jan Madara winning the second of our 2 pre-finals, so he makes it to the final. And a good drive by Andreas Hansen in 2nd place. There was Ricardo Romkema out of the top 10, but will make it to the final. Daniel Bray from New Zealand, just on the very cusp of making it into the final. Did mention in commentary that he was a 32-hour journey. Guus Becken in 26th place, not making it to the final and going to be bitterly, bitterly disappointed. James Glenister of Great Britain, you saw in that very uncomfortable mode early on when on the opening lap he was clearly in some sort of contact. And we've lost Daniel Formal from Costa Rica and Gary Carlton from United States of America. So the North American and the Central American driver sadly going out at the back end of pre-final 2 in KZ2. Well, our next track action is something rather different. It's the Academy Youngsters. The Academy Youngsters coming out for a 12-lap pre-final. That's the next track action here at Karting Genk. Please don't go very far away. These guys that you see on screen, spectators, they're not going far. Well, our next track action is the Academy Pre-Final, scheduled away at 10:30. 12 laps of this karting Genk track, and it's an all-Dutch front row. Richard Verschoor of Netherlands, Rinus van Kaltu joining him on the front row. Berkay Besler of Turkey, Murilo Della Coletta of Brazil are row 2, Bradley Liebenberg of South Africa and Oliver York of Great Britain, row 3, Xavier Lloveras Brunet of Spain and Konstantinos of Greece, row 4, Hikaru Kagore of Japan, Lucas Legere of Switzerland completing the top 5. Just outside the top 5, an all-Asian row 6 with Kakunoshin Ota of Japan and Perdana Putra Minang of Indonesia. So we don't have a standing start with the Academy Trophy drivers, they just roll forward. Confirmation of that all-Dutch front row up on screen there. All of the drivers on identical machines, Paralin chassis with from the same stable, the FIM motor, all on Bridgestone tyres. And just to make it a little bit tough for your commentator and a little bit tougher for you spectating at home, they all wear the same race suits. Marta Garcia Lopez in 25th place, the lady from Spain who's driven so well this season. Another lady there, Justine Calvi, in 34th place. But Marta, very disappointed to be where she is because she's gone better than that. Justine Calvi just getting in by the skin of her teeth from the 6th and final qualifying place from the last chance race yesterday evening. To the left of your screen then, Richard Verschoor on pole. To the right, Rinus van Kaltu. And we're racing, and it looks like Richard Verschoor in kart 310 getting the jump straight the way from 543, was that? Berkay Besler there, and a good start by Rinus van Kaltu out as well. 543, Berkay Besler in second place, definitely putting pressure on 512, Bradley Liebenberg in third place. And if any of you at home can read the numbers and identify the drivers quicker than myself, text me, do text me, it's not easy. 510 in the lead is Richard Verschoor, Berkay Besler in second place, Bradley Liebenberg in third place, and there goes a move by by 543 Berkay Besler, and Berkay Besler from Turkey taking the lead from Richard Verschoor in this early stage. Berkay Besler, a driver who I have seen racing in the past 3 or 4 years, a young talent out of Turkey. Still young enough to be racing in the Academy Trophy, so he must have been about 11 or 12 when I first saw him racing. He's made those formative years really count, completing lap 1 in the lead. Sorry, did I say that it was Verschoor in second place? It wasn't, it was Bradley Liebenberg, and Bradley Liebenberg and Berkay Besler having put distance between themselves and Richard Verschoor. Berkay Besler of Turkey in the lead, Bradley Liebenberg of South Africa in second place. Well, Bradley Liebenberg looking over his shoulder, which can be a prelude to an attempted move. Not sure that he's close enough to try to make that move. Indeed, he's not. And again, these are absolutely level playing field conditions. Everybody, again, I remind you, on a Paralin chassis powered by the FIM motor and on Bridgestone tyres. Well, Berkay Besler kicking on a little bit from Bradley Liebenberg. Petro Minang, Pedana Petra Minang dropping down from his 12th place position start. Be a bit disappointed. Justine Calvi from Luxembourg, she's up to 27th from 34th. So a good drive by the lady who only got in by the skin of her teeth. And Murilo Della Coletta, who started in P4 on the outside of row 2, down out of the top 30. Now, one of the two Russian drivers, Zakhar Slutsky, two Russian brothers, in kart 525, sets the fastest lap at this early stage, but he's only in 9th place at the moment. The other Slutsky driver, which is kart 524, Artem, in 11th place, just outside the top 10. But Berkay Besler of Turkey, kicking away a little bit from Bradley Liebenberg, 0.3 of a second at the end of that previous lap. Slightly shorter race distance for the Academy Trophy pre-final compared with the other pre-finals. 12 laps rather than 15. They've raced 8 laps heats as against the 12 lap heats of the senior drivers. Kai Besler dips his head. Bradley Liebenberg does likewise. And cart number 515, Lloveras Brunet of Spain third, Oliver York, Great Britain fourth, Lucas Legere in fifth place, Konstantinos sixth, Kogare of Japan seventh, the other Japanese driver Ota in eighth, Slutsky ninth, and Amendola of Belgium in the top 10. Now those front row starters, the Dutch lads, Rinus van Kalmthout, only in 11th place at the moment. And Ross Martin from Scotland sets the fastest lap. Ross Martin, who was quick in warm-up this morning, the fastest of those, setting the fastest lap. That's the good news. The bad news is down in 32nd place. So a lot of hard work to be done by Ross Martin, the driver from Drimmen to the south end of Loch Lomond, to the north of the Glasgow suburbs. A lot of hard work to do. Well, Kai Besler had a lead of 0.334 of a second. Let's see how that is now. It's increased to 0.479. Bradley Liebenberg in second place. He's got a fastest time of 58.2, whereas Kai Besler has done a 58.0. So the Turk in the lead is saying, look, not only am I in the lead, I'm actually going faster than you. So how have you got any kind of chance of catching me? Well, Kakazino Ota, cart number 547, Kakonoshin Ota has done 57.899, and that's got him into 7th place, and he was a driver who was starting round about 28th in the heats and coming forward. Well, he started this one a little bit further back in 11th place, 13th place was it, and now having set a fastest time, he's got himself into 7th place. Xavier Lloveras Brunet of Spain in third, Oliver York of Great Britain, the 4th place driver. Lucas Legere, a French-speaking Swiss driver, in 5th place. We're at the 1/3 race distance, and Kai Besler continues to increase his lead because it's 1.1 second now. And you can see, now our television pictures often foreshorten the distances, but you can see there how much Kai Besler's increased his lead as Ota does another fastest lap, and so does Ross Martin. Ross Martin in 28th place. When he last set a fastest lap, he was in 32nd place. Now he's up into 28th place. The Flying Scotsman really doing his best to repair the damage that was inflicted early on. Didn't see the situation. He started on row 11 in 22nd place, so something went wrong to put him down to 32nd place, but fighting back with the quickest lap of everybody on circuit at the moment. 5:15 in shot there is Xavier Lloveras Brunet of Spain, and he's moved up into 3rd place. Nice replay of it. Sorry, it's Oliver York going past Xavier Lloveras Barret into 3rd place. As he dips his head, you see the Union flag on the top of his helmet. A lot of the British drivers wear that Union flag and the helmet, and that's quite an aid to recognition by television commentators, not least when everybody's in an identical cart with identical race suits. But TUR on the arm of Kai Besler tells us TUR Turkey, so we know that that's him. 5:15 back there. Brunet, Lloveras Brunet, just a little bit disappointed, I guess, with where he is. Justine Calvi, who started last, getting up to 24th, but she's not as far forward as the Norwegian lady. Huro Mayo Mørn in cart 529 is in 18th place. We're at the half race distance, and this is a nice shot of Kai Besler. Started on the inside of the 2nd row, had a good start, had to make a passing move, had to execute a passing move to take the lead, did so cleanly, and pulling away a little bit from Bradley Liebenberg. The lead up to pulling away a little bit, it's now 1.68 seconds. That really is quick, isn't it? Mehmet Besler, his father, the entrant, you see on the caption at the bottom left of your screen, Kai Besler. Lead over Bradley Liebenberg, whose gap over the 3rd place driver, Oliver York of Great Britain, is just as close. Now, Oliver York might have looked as if he was being chased hard by Xavier Lloveras Brunet. Well, Xavier, the Spaniard, is chasing as hard as he might, but not catching the Brit. This is the South African driver, Bradley Liebenberg. I had the good fortune to be in South Africa a couple of years ago for their nationals, and Bradley Liebenberg, as a very young lad, showed immense promise there. Well, that's now being translated into real results action here in Europe. Second place, Bradley Liebenberg. Third place, Oliver York. Fourth place, Xavier Lloveras Brunet. Fifth place, Lucas Legeret of Switzerland. Sixth place is Kakunoshin Ota of Japan. Seventh place is Hikaru Kaguri of Japan. Eighth place, Konstantinos of Greece. Ninth place, Rinus van Kalmthout, who started on the front row. And in 10th place, Zhou Chao from the People's Republic of China. It's a Belgian driver in 11th place, Michelangelo Amendola 11th, and Perdana Putra Minang of Indonesia in 12th place. So in the 2/3 race distance, in fact, we're heading to the 3/4, and another nice shot of 5.43, which is Berkay Besler, sweeping round smoothly. Just the tiniest little bit of movement with the elbows, dips his head, nice and compact. Bradley Liebenberg, bigger of stature, has to do a little bit more dipping. Oliver York getting a bit closer to Bradley Liebenberg. 0.5 of a second between them. 5.43 in shot there is Berkay Besler. You can see that 2.2 seconds gap on our caption from the South African, so increasing all the time his advantage. Zhou Chao of People's Republic of China up to 10th, you saw there. Zupanic in 15th place from Austria. Good to see an Austrian driver going well. Ross Martin into the top 20 now, and he was down in 32nd place. So a really good repair job by the Scot. And Justine Calvi, last of the qualifiers in the last chance race, starting last, and she's got herself up into 22nd place, the lady from Luxembourg. Richard Verscour right back out of it. Big disappointment. We also lost the Norwegian lady driver, Huro Myomern, so that's a disappointment too. But no disappointment more great than that of Richard Verscour. Now this really good dice. Cart number 512 is Bradley Liebenberg. Cart number 522 is Oliver York. And Oliver York, having got the advantage over the South African, once again glancing over his shoulder, as both of them are, the identical machines, but the tie-break in who is who. Well, Oliver York's shorter than Bradley Liebenberg, and he's also got the Union flag on his helmet. So late in the race, Bradley Liebenberg conceding that second place to Oliver York. This, of course, going to give him a starting place on the inside of row 2 in the final, so maybe he'll feel that's not such a bad thing. Oliver York, of course, has the psychological advantage of, hey Brad, when I raced you, you were well in front of me, I caught you, I passed you, and I beat you. But he's not yet beaten Berkay Besler, because as we go into lap 12, Berkay Besler's lead is 2.26 seconds, and there is the young Turk. Excuse me, yes it is Berkay Besler. Again, just being thrown a little by the identical race suits and identical kart liveries, but there's no question that that's Berkay Besler. Now I see that helmet like that from that angle, and the fact that he's got a huge lead at the front of the race also gives me a clue. Berkay Besler from Turkey, where east meets west in Istanbul. Of all of the European nations that race karting, that's one I've not been to, and I really wish I could go there. So with just about 400 metres, make it 300 metres, Berkay Besler, a sweeping right-hander to negotiate. This is Pitt's turn, onto the home straight for the 12th and final time. To the right of your screen, the checkered flag, and Berkay Besler wins it. In second place, Oliver York. Third is Brad Liebenberg. Fourth is Xavier Lloveras Brunet. Fifth, and a really good drive by Kakunoshin Ota of Japan up into 5th place. Fellow Japanese driver Hikaru Kagure is 6th. 7th is Luca Legeret of Switzerland, dropping a couple of places late on. Rinus van Kalmthout repairing the damage of that problem at the start in finishing in 8th place. Konstantinos of Greece 9th, and from the People's Republic of China, so good to see that nation represented here, Zhou Chao of China completing the top 10. Just outside the top 10, the first of our Belgian drivers, which is Michelangelo Amendola, and in 12th place, Perdana Putra Minang from Indonesia. Ross Martin, who fell to 32nd place, eventually finishing in 16th place. So a good drive by the Scot after the disaster of early on. But fellow early starter Murillo Della Coletto getting himself no higher than 23rd, unfortunately. Well, there is confirmation of the caption: Berkay Besler's victory by a margin of 2.1 seconds. Both of the Japanese going well to finish 5th and 6th respectively. Outside the top 10, Thierry Faldesi of Belgium was the second Belgian home in 13th place. Della Coletta of Brazil finishing 23rd, a huge disappointment after having started on the second row. And the biggest disappointment of all, Richard Vescourt, unbeatable yesterday, and sadly taking an early exit from the tarmac in the pre-final today. However, that doesn't exclude him from the final, and as Ross Martin and to some degree Justin Calvi have shown us, you can make forward progress right from the back. Well, there's evidence of our drivers and spectators being able to see the pictures you're seeing at home on CIK TV here at Karting Genk. We've got a big screen just in front of the tribune by the a la carte brasserie, and we've got a big screen just in front of the circuit by the start-finish line. Well, somebody getting their own back on our cameraman there. Well done, sir. Well, a nice shot on screen of our CIK flag, and here on CIK TV we say thank you to WSK Promotions, powering the production of this particular event and the television coverage of it in particular. KF pre-final up next, and in the KF Championship this is round 3 of 4, and as well as championship points being scored in the finals, you can score championship points in the heats this year, and we had a tie break coming into the event with Nicholas Nielsen and Lando Norris tied on 44 points. As we speak, Lando Norris is the championship leader with 53 points. Nicholas Nielsen now has 51 points. Third in the championship, as he was when we came in, was Nico Kari with 48 points. Fourth in the championship, Callum Eilert with 47. So very, very tight at the top of this championship. This event to go, and we then move on to PFI in Lincolnshire in Great Britain at the end of August for the championship climax in KF. But hey, that's in the future. Right now we've got a pre-final to race, and later on this afternoon a final. Callum Eilert will start this one on pole position and will be joined on the front row by the championship leader Lando Norris. Hannes Janke and Nicholas Nielsen, second in the championship, will be row 2. Nico Kari, third in the championship standings, will share row 3 with Linus Lundqvist. Martin van Leeuwen, Netherlands, and Daniel Lundgaard, Denmark, row 4. Johan Daravula, driving on a British licence but from India, he's on row 5 and sharing row 5 with Nick Cristofaro from the Kingdom of Bahrain. Hi to all of our friends in Bahrain who are tuned in to CIK TV. I wonder if the President is tuned in, Sheikh Abdullah. If so, good morning to you, sir. Well, if our President Sheikh Abdullah bin Isa Al Khalifa is tuned in Bahrain, it won't be morning there, will it? It will be later on in the afternoon, so good afternoon rather than good morning. Nick Cristofaro done tremendously well, qualifying for a top 10 start. Just looking at the pre-final grid, if any of my friends are tuned in Northern Ireland, Yifan Jia from the People's Republic of China starts this one in last place, but he did make it from the last chance race yesterday. And why do I mention that in the context of Northern Ireland? Because Craig Sterling from that Northern Irish karting family is mechanicking for Yifan Jia. So our caption shows Callum Islet on pole position, joined on the front row by Lando Norris, the championship leader, in an all-British front row. Germany and Denmark row 2 in Hannes Janker and Nicholas Nielsen. So just coming round the pit turn onto the home straight. To the left of your screen, Callum Islet. To the right of your screen, Lando Norris. 15 laps awaits them. And we're racing, and it's a good start by Callum Islet on the inside. Hannes Janker has also gone with him. Ooh, a little bit of rattling there. Lando Norris pushed wide, and 2 or 3 of our front runners are caught in contact there, and that's unfortunate. We're not able to identify them presently, but I can tell you that Callum Islet is not in any way affected. Hannes Janker likewise. Lando Norris I did spot there in the early stages and wasn't in one of the clouts in the little bit of coming together. I think I see Nico Kari there, yes I do, and Nicholas Nielsen too. Kart 113 that you see there on the bottom of your screen, or was the middle of your screen. Karol Dabski also I think getting a good start, but Nicholas Nielsen 103, and moving up there was 103, so 103 Nicholas Nielsen gaining a place at that early stage. But Callum Islet already got 5 kart lengths to the good on the opening lap as we sweep round to complete the first lap. Callum Islet leading, Hannes Janker second, Nicholas Nielsen third, Lando Norris fourth, Linus Lundqvist came through fifth, didn't mention his name. In 6th place, 168 is Daniel Lundgaard, 7th Martin van Leeuwen, Nick Cristofaro of Bahrain up from 10th to 8th on the opening lap. The world champion Tom Joyner starting outside the top 10, drives into the top 10 on the opening lap. He's running in 9th place. Oliver Hodgson of Great Britain driving for PF International, where we stage our final round of this event in August. He goes into the top 10, and kart number 103, Nicholas Nielsen, was he going past Hannes Janker? Yes, he was. So Nicholas Nielsen now in 2nd place, Hannes Janker in 3rd place. Let's have a look at that again. Well, there's not a lot that Hannes Janker could have done there, was there? I suppose the one thing he could have done was chopped right across Nicholas Nielsen and probably put both of them out. He was sensible not to try to do that. What we have to do is praise Nicholas Nielsen for that really good passing move. Done that previously, and I think Nicholas Nielsen was on the edge of some of that bumping early on. I'm not suggesting he was the cause of it, but from the outside of row 2, I think he must have been in some of that bumping at the start, but getting himself into 2nd place. All of that is good news. 5th going up to 4th is Linus Lundqvist going past Lando Norris. Now let me have a look. Yes, that is Lando Norris 5th, and that is Linus Lundqvist in 4th place. They're the 2 in shot now, both of them with a yellow-based helmet. As Callum Islet is now, having had a lead of 0.67 of a second, looks as if Nicholas Nielsen is getting a little bit closer. And Lando Norris and Linus Lundqvist, they've not finished either, have they? And you see Linus Lundqvist clearly saying, look, don't fight me, let's chase these 2 up front, let's not let them get away. But Lando Norris says, no, I'm a racer, the first thing I want to do is pass the guy in front, that's you, so here I come. Well, it hasn't happened, and they are back now still in 4th and 5th place. Hannes Janker still 3rd, Nicholas Nielsen still 2nd, but having designs on Callum Eilert's lead. There is 1-3-0, Linus Lundqvist. Good scrap this for 4th and 5th between Lando Norris and Linus Lundqvist. Always get plenty of action when little Lando's about. And Linus Lundqvist gives as good as he gets as well, and there's it, oh my, and Callum Eilert not just passed there, but losing pace as well, so he goes immediately into the clutches of Hannes Janker. See what I mean? Callum Eilert having to avoid contact there. Sensible thing to do by Callum Eilert, but that takes a little bit of pace from him, and Hannes Janker in 3rd place, getting a lot closer now. Linus Lundqvist just pulling away a fraction in 4th place from Lando Norris in 5th. Lando Norris, the championship leader. This the pre-final, in which they will not score championship points, but will get determined their starting positions for the final. Well, 103 in the lead, and a very, very nice piece of driving to get there, Nicholas Nielsen. Callum Eilert didn't do an awful lot wrong, but when he was caught, just a little bit in no man's land slightly, and Callum Eilert did look to see what he could do to defend, but realised he had to pull away to avoid any kind of contact. The front-running 5 well clear of the rest, and our television pictures here on CIK TV, powered by WSK Promotions, showing you all the action from the top 5 drivers. They are the front runners and clearly well to the fore. Just looking at our captions there, Karel Bash in 15th place. By his very high standards at international level, been disappointing here. Gabriel Aubrey in 24th place, just doesn't get things right at the moment in this championship, had a lot of bad luck. Johan Daravula down in 28th place, having started in 9th place, is going to be disappointed. So heading round towards the Serpentine, the race leaders are now in the Serpentine. Lando Norris sets the fastest lap, but he's the 5th of these 5, the one in shot now at this screen. At the front though, Nicholas Nielsen pulling away a little bit, pulling away from Callum Eilert. Callum Eilert reasonably clear of Hannes Janker, and Linus Lundqvist. Hannes Janker looking over his right shoulder, Linus Lundqvist doing likewise, and it's this battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th now where most of the action would appear to be concentrated, although Callum Eilert possibly getting a little closer to Nicholas Nielsen. Let me just look away and see the timing screen. 0.37 of a second. I would have thought, yes, and 4th has gone to 3rd, which is a good move by Linus Lundqvist as we anticipated, and Lando Norris says I'll have a piece of that action and goes up as well. So it's been a bad lap for Hannes Janker, and Hannes Janker dropping down to 5th place when he started the lap in 3rd place. There's our highlight picture, our replay, nicely, cleanly executed. Plenty of right hand looking, isn't there? And there you see Lando Norris saying, well, if you're going to make a move on Hannes Janker, Mr. Lundqvist, there'll be a little bit of a gap, and since I'm only a little fella, I'll nip in there as well. Oh my, Lando Norris getting into 3rd place, and our television pictures couldn't have shown you that any better. The head-on picture showing you just how Linus Lundqvist endeavoured to defend the place, and Lando Norris determined to execute it. Now remember, our caption has showed you that Lando Norris has set the fastest lap, so Norris has got the advantage of that little extra speed. And once again, I'm going to say, it's an expression I often use, I don't think Linus Lundqvist did very much wrong there. Again, let's have a look and see what we see. Well, he looks over, tries to go all the way over to say to Lando Norris, no, I'm not letting you through. But in the end, Lando Norris getting there, and cart 163 in shot there. Hannes Janker still in touch with them in 5th place, although the front 2 have broken away from 3rd, 4th and 5th to some degree. So, heading now towards the half race distance. Now, Nicholas Nielsen setting the fastest lap. Moments ago, I did think that Callum Eilert was getting a little bit closer, and I was just about to say that gap between 1 and 2 looks to have widened a fraction. Well, if it did, it would have been on account of Nicholas Nielsen's fast lap of 54.50 on that. Callum Eilert's fastest lap is 54.62. So Nicholas Nielsen has actually gone 0.12 of a second quicker on his fastest lap than Callum Eilert has on his. I know these are just numbers and it's not always that relevant, but when you're in the lead in the second half of the race, it's handy to know that you're capable of posting the fastest lap, and Nicholas Nielsen is in that happy place. He leads from Khaled Eilert second, Lando Norris third, Linus Lundqvist fourth, Hannes Janker fifth. Tom Joyner, I think, is the next. Daniel Lundgaard, kart 168, has gone past him. Daniel Lundgaard has gone to 6th, so Tom Joyner drops to 7th. Nikita Mazepin is 8th. Oliver Hodgson also drops a place to 9th. And Felice Tieni, who started in 19th place, drives into the top 10 at number 10. Pedro Hiltbrand, from well down the field after something of a disaster, started in 31st place. Pedro Hiltbrand up to 14th place. Johan Daravula starting in the top 10, running 26th. Very disappointing for that. Yifan Jar, who had a good charge up from the back, has gone out of the race, let me see, 6 laps ago, I think. Nicholas Nielsen driving the Cosmic Vortex. Everybody in this class are on Dunlop tyres, so they're all Dunlop shod, but their choice of chassis, their choice of motor, and Callum Eilert is within 0.28 of a second of Nicholas Nielsen, so that big margin that Nicholas Nielsen had is now very much under threat by Callum Eilert. Glances over his shoulder. If I was to make a challenge on Nick Nielsen, is anybody in a position? But still, it's Lando Norris throwing in the fastest lap. He's back there in 3rd place, but Callum Eilert is not thinking in terms of Lando Norris in 3rd. He's thinking in terms of Nicholas Nielsen is leading, but it could be me, Callum Eilert. And of course, if Lando Norris at this rate does close on them, we could have a blanket finish for these front 3 into the final quarter of the race as we complete another lap. The margin in favour of Nicholas Nielsen is 0.25 of a second. But as you can see there, Callum Eilert in the virtually all white as we look race suit, orange helmet against the cosmic house colours of Nicholas Nielsen. And Callum Eilert getting a lot closer according to the naked eye, 0.25 of a second according to the timing unit. And Callum Eilert by no means settling for 2nd place here. So our pictures on CIK TV, powered by WSK Promotions, giving you the best of the action at the front, because it's the dice between Nicholas Nielsen in the lead and Callum Eilert in 2nd place that catches the eye. And just for an extra little bit, Callum Eilert, the diminutive driver, in 3rd place. He's the fastest of the guys in the top 3. So another lap reeled off as we get down into the final 3 laps. Nick Nielsen holding off the challenge of Callum Eilert, but the challenge is still there. Not quite as close as he was at this point on the circuit last time round. But by now Callum Eilert just drifting minimally there. And, well, having said that he's got a little bit of work to do to catch up, in there he had to take evasive action before he might have touched Nicholas Nielsen. So he did carry the exit speed there. But as predicted, this battle for 1 and 2 is becoming a battle for 1, 2 and 3, and Callum Eilert looking over his shoulder. You can see there what his mindset is. Look, I'm chasing the guy in front, Nicholas Nielsen, but hang on a minute, there's a guy behind, Lando Norris, who I've got to defend against. So Nicholas Nielsen just getting a little bit more of a cushion, is he? It was 0.228 of a second at the previous lap, now 0.261. So yes, tiny little bit of an advantage for Nicholas Nielsen at the end of that lap, but our television pictures suggesting that Callum Eilert momentarily was close enough to make a challenge. He isn't as we speak at this minute, or at this moment, but Callum Eilert, the middle one in this sandwich of 3. Nicholas Nielsen leads, Callum Eilert 2nd, Lando Norris 3. Our screen is filled with the front 3 runners, and this is the closest dice of the race. Late in this pre-final for KF, and the 1, 2 and 3 positions are by no means cut and dried at this stage. Nicholas Nielsen has the advantage. Callum Eilert having a different line there than Lando Norris. And Lando Norris bidding to go second and goes second, but Callum Eilert fighting back, and Callum Eilert does go back into 2nd place, but the real beneficiary there, as he looks over his shoulder, is our race leader Nicholas Nielsen, who might well be saying, hey guys, thanks for doing that, because that's taken the pressure off me a little bit as I go the final 1,350 metres round karting Genk. You two carry on racing each other, that takes the pressure off me, and here I am looking hard over my shoulder. Well, is it going to be a little bit of a, shall we say, tactical battle? I don't like to see the drivers scrub off the speed and just make defensive moves. I'd far rather see a race to the line, and that little advantage that Nicholas Nielsen had as he drives down now to the a la carte brasserie, turning left at the podium corner, just as the sweeping right-hander to negotiate. Callum Eilert also looking over his shoulder. Sweeping right once more onto the home straight. The checkered flag flies, and our race winner is Nicholas Nielsen. Second is Callum Eilert. Third is Lando Norris. Fourth is Linus Lundqvist. Fifth is Hannes Janker. And we wait a long while for the sixth place driver. That's Tom Joyner. Nikita Mazepin comes seventh. Felice Tieni is eighth. Martin van Leeuwen of the Netherlands ninth, and driving for PF International is Oliver Hodgson into 10th place. Nick Nielsen wins it from Callum Eilert second and Lando Norris third. A good pre-final in KF. Let's have a look at the highlights. Well, Callum Eilert getting the early advantage, as you can see. Nicholas Nielsen being one of the drivers in the earliest stages to be involved in a little bit of that well, coming together. 163 is Hannes Janker, who's very handily placed at this point. He's looking behind him at kart 103, Nicholas Nielsen. And Nicholas Nielsen makes the move there on our highlights package and goes into second place. Looking over his shoulder, 106, Callum Eilert. Not to know that at that point Nicholas Nielsen would make a move, and there was the point at which Nicholas Nielsen went in front. Callum Eilert having to be really alert not to have any kind of contact, and indeed not conceding that second place. 103 in your shot on screen. Nicholas Nielsen is in the late stages of the race, dips his head for the aerodynamics. Lando Norris going from fourth to third at the expense of Linus Lundqvist. And Lando Norris and Linus Lundqvist had quite a long battle to determine that, eventually coming in favour of the young Brit. And the young Brit at this stage on our highlights, very close, looking to go through Callum Eilert, and does so, but Callum Eilert getting the benefit of the turn to say, no, I'll stay in second place if you don't mind. And later in the race now, Nick Nielsen sweeping round to take the checkered flag. Nick Nielsen wins it. Callum Eilert second, Lando Norris third, Linus Lundqvist fourth, and Hannes Janker fifth on our highlights package. Hope you enjoyed that. Good race. They'll be doing that all again this afternoon. They'll be doing that at 3:30, 15:30 in the KF final. So our captions confirming the top 10. Outside the top 10, one or two disappointments there. Nico Kari, third in the championship standings, going to be disappointed to have finished 20th for Warwood Racing on that Tony kart. Pedro Hiltbrand's 13th place represents a big climb up from the disaster of yesterday, having to go through the second chance race. Karol Dabski well outside the top 20 in 24th place. And Daniel Lundgaard, 26, not too happy either, I guess. Well, our next race is the KZ pre-final, the big names of our sport. And starting this one on pole position, the 2009 World Champion Arnaud Kozlinski from France. He'll be joined on the front row by Belgian driver Rick Drazen. The 2007-2008 World Champion Marco Ardigo is on row 2 with Belgian driver Jonathan Tonon. From Great Britain, Jordan Lennox-Lamb will be on row 3 alongside Netherlands driver Jorrit Pex. Another Brit, Ben Hanley, will be on row 4 alongside Frenchman Anthony Abbas. And a third Belgian in the top 10, Yannick de Brabender, on row 5 with Italy's Paolo De Conto. Row 6, the 2012 World Champion Flavio Camponeschi alongside fellow Italian Massimo Aceto. Row 7, Riccardo Negro, another Italian, alongside Freddy Karlsson of Sweden. Yet another all-Italian row, that's row 8, 4 times world champion David Foré, together with Sauro Cesetti. And Bas Lammers, the Dutchman, is on row 9 with Simo Pohaka of Finland. The top 20 is completed on row 10 by Jeremy Iglesias of France and Mirko Torsellini of Italy. Well, you see Arnaud Kozlinski at the front there, just alongside him or just behind him, Rick Drazen. Our caption shows that they are the front row. Marco Ardigo and Jonathan Tonon row 2. Standing start, of course, for the gearbox class, the shifter classes. Bas Lammers down in 17th place, David Foré in 15th place, so we might expect some progress from the back from those big names. Patrick Hayek, very unfortunate to have some things go wrong at the wrong moment after having gone well early on in this competition. So we get ready for a 15-lap pre-final for KZ. Arnaud Kozlinski in cart number 20 to your right. Marco Ardigo immediately behind him. Jordan Lennox-Lamb behind him. To the left of your screen, the pole sitter Arnaud Kozlinski on that Intrepid TM. Arnaud Kozlinski driving for the Intrepid Driver Programme. Well, there's the green flag at the back of the grid. We now look to the lights to go for our start. And we're racing, and and Rick Drazen immediately putting a little bit of a tap on Arnaud Kozlinski. So Rick Drazen in the early stage in the lead. That's definitely Arno Kozlinski in second place. I think Marco Ardigo in third place. Yes, it is Marco Ardigo in third. So the early leader, Rick Drazen in kart 9, Arno Kozlinski in second place in kart 20, and Marco Ardigo in kart number 1 in third place. But is he about to lose that third place? No, not at this early stage. Well, we've got a couple of, we've got more than a couple. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers out between turns 1 and 2 on the opening lap. I don't think they were the immediate front runners, and I don't think they were in trouble as a result of the bumping at the start. We think that kart number 21, Victor Oberg of Sweden, might be one, and Flavio Camponeschi perhaps, who started in a decent position. But as we complete the opening lap, confirmation incidentally that the third of those drivers was Simo Pohaka. But Rick Drazen, Arno Kozlinski and Marco Ardigo continuing as 1, 2 and 3. Behind them, Jonathan Tonon is in fourth place, Jordan Lennox-Lamb in fifth. Little bit of a gap behind Jordan Lennox-Lamb, but that closes up. Oh, and there's some tapping there, and Arno Kozlinski as a result goes in front, and there's a lot of weaving about, isn't there? Marco Ardigo now second, and 1 or 2 drivers, not sure if that was tactical, strategic driving, if 1 or 2 drivers momentarily losing some control, but the net result is that we have a change of lead. Rick Drazen is not now the leader, Arno Kozlinski leads, and Marco Ardigo tracking him down as we come round to complete the second lap. This is the start of lap 3. Well, I'm a little bit premature. This is the start of lap 3. And Marco Ardigo bidding for the lead, and again, wow. Well, these are the drivers at the top of our sport, and if I use a little bit of a colloquialism, you take no prisoners at this level. This is racing for championship points in a European championship in the CIK FIA Championships, and you have to say that whilst everybody's expected to give 10 tenths, we've seen a little bit more than 10 tenths, haven't we, in these early stages. Third place driver there, I think, was still Rick Drazen, or is that Jonathan Tonon? No, it is Rick Drazen still third. Rick Drazen certainly still in third place. Ben Hanley, I think I'm identifying from screen, in fourth. Yes, that is Ben Hanley. So Ben Hanley in kart 17, having moved up. And Yannick de Brabender in sixth place there. Yes, Ben Hanley trying to pass the driver in front as we complete another lap. Arno Kozlinski, Marco Ardigo and Rick Drazen remaining the 1, 2 and 3. Jonathan Tonon in fourth place. Yes, it is there. And Ben Hanley in fifth. See Jorrit Pex there as well, and Yannick de Brabender. Jordan Lennox-Lamb having dropped down to 8th, having been running in the top 5. But Arno Kozlinski, the pace has settled a little bit, and so has the driving situation. Arno Kozlinski won his world title, his first world title, or only world title at Macau, China. Marco Ardigo won his first title in Marienburg, Belgium, and takes the lead. Marco Ardigo takes the lead. Race director Nigel Edwards at the top of your screen there, just stepping back a couple of paces from the edge of the tarmac, as well he might, because these guys are racing at 10 tenths. Let's have a look then. Marco Ardigo gets himself on the inside of Arno Kozlinski. Nothing that the Frenchman could do. Well, he could give him a little tap afterwards maybe, but nothing significant that he could do. And Marco Ardigo continuing now to build on that passing move, because he's put a full kart length between himself and Arno Kozlinski. Still in third place, the Belgian driver Rick Drazen in kart number 9. Jonathan Tonon, another Belgian in kart 3, is in fourth place and sets the fastest lap, 53.80. So these KZs not hanging around in the 53 seconds, the high 53s. Marco Ardigo definitely building on that pass, isn't he? Because he's put another half a length on Arno Kozlinski, who started on pole position. These front-running drivers just pulling away a little bit. The front 4, little bit of a gap before the 5th place driver. Let me give you the call over as they start another lap. Ardigo, Kozlinski, Drazen, Tonon are the front 4. Ben Hanley leads the remaining drivers in 5th place. Just a little bit of a gap on Ben. In fact, you could almost argue it's a front-running 5. Behind Ben Hanley, Jorrit Pex is 6th. Jordan Lennox-Lamb's got a place back to 7th. at the expense of Yannick de Brabander, the third Belgian in 8th place. So 3 Belgians in the top 8. Now at the top of the programme, or at the top of the race, I did suggest that David Foray, starting way back down the grid in 13th place, might be able to make some forward progress. He's up to 9th. Paolo De Conto completing the top 10. The drivers that we lost, by the way, some big names: Flavio Camponeschi, Bas Lammers and Seamus Puharka. Well, we're watching now the battle at the front with Marco Ardigo. Saw him making that shift, and there is the move between the Belgians, and again we've got a little bit of contact, and kart number 3, which is Jonathan Tonen, getting past number 9, which is Rick Drazen, and in tucked in just behind those, I think that's Ben Hanley that we saw in shot in 17. Yes, it is. So plenty of action in this KZ race. And a little bit further downfield in 12th place, Anthony Abbas of France sets the fastest lap. Not yet at the half race distance, but Marco Ardigo putting down a marker. Now let's have a look at this move. We look at 3rd place, and all of a sudden 3rd place changes, just with the minor little bit of contact perhaps. Karting's a non-contact sport, isn't it? But occasionally there's some unavoidable incidental contact. It happens. Marco Ardigo looks over his shoulder. Again, you see that gear shift. Arno Kozlinski not in a position to make a challenge. We are at the half race distance in the last of our 5 pre-finals this morning here at Karting Genk. Hope you're enjoying our coverage on CIK TV, and we mean it most sincerely when we say thank you for joining us, as Alex Schmitz of Germany sets the fastest lap, and Alex Schmitz is way down the field in 19th place, but he's going quickly. Marco Ardigo's not hanging about either. He's got a 2 kart length lead on Arno Kozlinski, and Arno Kozlinski in turn heads the Belgians by a bigger margin. Jonathan Tonon in kart 3 is 3rd, Rick Drazen in kart 9 is 4th, Ben Hanley 5th, Jorrit Peck 6th, Jordan Lennox Lamb 7th, Yannick de Brabander 8th, David Foray 9th, Paolo De Conte completing the top 10. Marco Ardigo been an official Tony Kart factory driver for some time now. I mentioned when he took the lead, didn't I, that he won his first world title 2007 in Marienburg, Belgium. We don't shout the name Marienburg circuit too loudly here at Karting Genk, but that was where Marco Ardigo secured his first CIK FIA world title. And Jonathan Tonon in 3rd place is catching Arno Kozlinski, and is likely to be catching him because he got a fastest lap posted there. So Arno Kozlinski, who was doing his best to hang on to Marco Ardigo, is now going to have to think a different strategy, which is, how do I keep this flying Belgian behind me? We're on lap 9 of 15, and Jonathan Tonon in kart number 3. You see him in shot there. Lovely picture of the blue race suit for the Praga Perea driver. Somebody was saying in a paddock earlier this year that the Praga colours are really some of the most attractive livery in top flight karting, and I wouldn't disagree with that. Got some fairly decent drivers too. But this is a decent driver. It's Marco Ardigo as Jonathan Tonen goes faster still into the 52.9s, 52.99. You don't see many laps in the 52 seconds here at Karting Genk. These guys are absolutely flying, none more so than Jonathan Tonon. 52.99 seconds as he bids to get past Arno Kozlinski, and there's nothing that the Frenchman can do there, because on a flyer, aided by that 52.9 second lap, Jonathan Tonon drives up from 3rd place to 2nd. Let's have a look at that again. Absolutely beautiful move. Our replay shows not a hint of any kind of contact, nothing you can debit Arno Kozlinski with, just a beautiful piece of driving by Jonathan Tonon. So, towards the 3/4 race distance, and Arno Kozlinski doing his best to fight back, but this is Marco Ardigo in shot on our screens. The margin that he had at the end of that previous lap was 0.8 of a second, and the very, very experienced Italian, as I say, the works driver, the #1 Tony Kart driver for several seasons now, building on this lead, as well he would, given that there's been a passing move on 3rd to 2nd. Having said that, Jonathan Tonon is going quicker than Marco Ardigo and actually getting closer. So don't read into what I've said that everything is cut and dried. It's going to be Tough for Jonathan Tonon to catch Marco Ardigo from here, but it's not impossible. All the aces in the hands of Marco Ardigo, because his lead is 0.78 of a second. Well, 0.78 of a second is down on 0.8 of a second, but the checkered flag may well come a little bit too early for Jonathan Tonon if he can maintain this speed. 53.1 the quickest lap for Marco Ardigo, 52.9 the quickest lap for Jonathan Tonon. Well, I take my eye off the screen momentarily to look at the timing screen. Ardigo, Tonon, Kozlinski 1, 2 and 3, Rick Drazen is 4th, Ben Hanley 5th, Jorrit Peck 6th, Jordan Lennox-Lamb 7th, Yannick de Brabander 8th, Patrick Hayek 9th, so the Czech drives into the top 10 at number 9, and Paolo De Conto of Italy completes the top 10 at number 10. Marco Ardigo in shot, the Tony Kart racing suit, the individual helmet, 0.6 of a second, 0.64 on Jonathan Tonon. It was 0.80, it was 0.78, it's now 0.64. So the inevitable message is that Jonathan Tonon is getting closer to Marco Ardigo, but the equally evident message is that, well, Marco Ardigo thinks it's worth a look to just see how close the Belgian is. But the checkered flag, you would imagine, would come quickly enough for Marco Ardigo and a little bit too quickly for Jonathan Tonon. But hey, anything can happen. So, setting off on the next lap. Just looking a little bit further downfield, Jordan Lennox-Lamb lost 7th place to Yannick de Brabander on that lap. So Yannick de Brabander now running 7th, Jordan Lennox-Lamb running 8th. 1 3/4 laps remaining. Marco Ardigo, a lead of 0.58 of a second on Jonathan Tonon. Will we get a blanket finish between these two? The advantage with Marco Ardigo, but the gap closing all the time. Of course, Jonathan Tonon has to reach Marco Ardigo and then execute a passing move, so it ought to be won by the Italian from here, but the Belgian giving him absolutely everything. Marco Ardigo, pretty faultless drive in terms of positional sense. Glance over the shoulder by both Ardigo, a slight glance, and a much longer glance by Jonathan Tonon. 15 laps is the race length at pre-final level for these seniors, and Jonathan Tonon, another fastest lap, 52.98 now. So Jonathan Tonon really flying. If this was a 20-lap race, you might think of a different result, and indeed Jonathan Tonon could catch Marco Ardigo from here, but it would take a disaster of monumental proportions for the Italian, the very experienced Italian, to lose it from here, you would imagine. Tonon closes, they're coming round by the podium turn, just the pit turn remaining. 2 right-handers for Marco Ardigo to negotiate. There's one, there's the second, here's the checkered flag, and Marco Ardigo wins it. Jonathan Tonon in 2nd place, Arno Kozlinski 3rd, Rick Drazen 4th, Ben Hanley 5th, Jorrit Peck 6th, Yannick de Brabander 7th, Jordan Lennox-Lamb 8th, Patrick Hayek 9th, and Paolo De Conto is in 10th place. Marco Ardigo wins it, Jonathan Tonon 2nd, Arno Kozlinski 2nd. Let's have a look at the highlights. Well, Arno Kozlinski, having got himself a little bit muscled out at the start, pretty quickly set about trying to take the lead. This was off Rick Drazen in kart number 9, and there Arno Kozlinski rattles his way through, and just the merest hint of contact between 1 or 2 of these guys. Rick Drazen still leading at this stage, but gets himself in the wrong place by a big margin, and Arno Kozlinski and Marco Ardigo doing something like a pinball piece of driving there. Also getting badly out of shape. I think that was Jorrit Peck's, but I wouldn't be certain of that. When I saw it first time round, I didn't think it was Jorrit Peck's. This time on the highlights, thought perhaps it was. Marco Ardigo now, and Arno Kozlinski and Arno Kozlinski just conceding in a very gentlemanly fashion there. Little love tap afterwards of saying, well done, that was a nice clean move, Ardigo. I'll give you a little tap of admiration. But before that, well, it was fought really strongly, wasn't it? So Arno Kozlinski in second place at this stage. Both of the Belgians, ooh, and that was a little bit tight between Rick Drazen and Jonathan Tonon. Sweeping round as Ardigo looks over his shoulder, and this was the move whereby Jonathan Tonon, oh, shouldn't really smile, should I? It was pretty hairy stuff momentarily. That was the two Belgians trading places, Tonon going past Rick Drazen, and also amongst them there in shot was Ben Hanley. So at this point of the race, Marco Ardigo pretty much got the victory in hand, you would think, but Jonathan Tonon setting 2 consecutive fastest laps, and Marco Ardigo just getting hold of the checkered flag, or seeing the checkered flag when he wanted it most. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us on CIK TV. This is the caption on screen of our top 10 finishers, headed by the race winner, Marco Ardigo. I don't want any of you to go away from CIK TV, and those of you here at Karting Genk will know that we move forward to the next phase of our programme, which is the driver presentation. The driver presentation is scheduled for another 10 minutes. In 10 minutes' time, we shall make the driver presentation. Just looking again at the caption on screen, Anthony Abbas dropping out of the top 10 to finish 11th there. And out of the top 20, always sad to see drivers of the capability of Flavio Camponeschi and Bas Lammers going out on the opening lap. Massimo Aceto and Sauro Cesetti also going out on the opening lap. But hey, these things happen, unfortunately. We also lost Finnish drivers Simo Pahaka and Victor Oberg. Well, I take off my headset now because the next duty I have is to call over the drivers on the driver presentation parade. That will be in approximately 10 minutes time. Please don't anybody go terribly far away. It's always a good occasion when we have driver presentation.